Hey guys, it's Penguin here, and today I have a monster of a video for you guys. It's finally the day for me to walk you guys through everything we've done on our world in the past year, and welcome to 4 years in a forever world. Starting off today though, we're going to start with the forge, and we'll come back to the build that we're currently looking at. So snapping back into first person, we're going to come and drop down the entrance right here, and this leads to the forge, which is also our massive super smelter that was built about 5 months ago. And I think it ranks as one of the top builds on this world, despite it being overshadowed by some of the newer projects that we've done. So at the heart of it all, this control panel is the entire reason we built this project. And it is a 100 furnace array super smelter that runs off of 8 carpet dupers over in this corner over here, and uses this custom timing loop and dropper setup to smelt shulker boxes at a time. And it's been pretty efficient. I've loved having it so far. It's been a huge positive. So the way this works is you can like turn on the carpet duper, and that will turn on the system over here to generate infinite fuel for the system. And then this lever over here starts a minecart loop, and this minecart loop allows minecarts to go around and drop items into all the furnaces, and it's how we fill up all the furnaces. Now the highlight of this entire system is that when this lever here is flipped and we turn on the furnace array, we also light up the entire forge. What I mean by that is, when we turn that on, we can come over here and we can see that the actual basin of the forge lights up, as well as the tubes on the side drain. And I spent a lot of time working on a light up animation for this, and I think I did a pretty good job, and it looks so epic as it lights up, and it turns off via the same switch when the forge is cold. Now, obviously there's a lot more builds in the forge than just the center section, but this is more of a picturesque build. Some of the other details I added is I added like this giant boiler setup. I thought it would be kind of like a cool thing that's like almost how the forge is powered. A crane to help move items around while we're smelting, and then the center forge section was actually inspired by Baldur's Gate. And if you guys know the adamantium forge, that's what this was inspired by, with the lava filling up the platform, as well as the actual center platform shape with the center hammer. Now, I did do my best to fully change all the colors and all the styling, so it is my own unique design, but it was inspired by Baldur's Gate. I get asked a ton where all my inspiration comes from. Baldur's Gate's a pretty big one. Another thing you'll instantly notice is this giant smoke demon that stretches across the entire project and is guarding the center of the forge. I received a ton of very, very good names for what to name him in the comments on the forge, and I really, really appreciate those guys. What I couldn't believe is how many people actually correctly called out that this guy was inspired by Orthax from Vox Machina. So huge prop to you guys. I'm kind of proud that you guys were able to determine that my smoke monster was a recreation of one from an animated movie, or sorry, an animated TV show. But I absolutely love how this build turned out. One of the other things is these giant crystals were a late addition to it. It was just, there was too much gray, and I needed like a pop of color to really help break up the scene. And those giant crystals really helped with that. There's a ton of other fun details, like all these lava spouts I thought were kind of cool. I tried to add like little charred effects on all the walls where they were hitting. And you'll see that in all of the different ones all over the place. More paths. This entrance over here actually will be a room one day. The plan for this is to link it to the underground tunnels in the Redstone district that we'll get to later in this video, but don't worry, I will link that one day down the line. But for the sake of this video, as it is a tour, I think it's worth us walking the entire path all the way down. So if we come around here, you can actually kind of get a glimpse of what the true scale of this project is. Some of these builds, you just don't understand how big they are until you're walking around in them in survival itself, and you're like, oh, this giant little, or this small little bridge right here is actually like 25-30 blocks long. But from there, you're able to get to the center of the forge. See all my little detail work with glazed terracotta everywhere. The way the forge looks illuminated. Better glimpse of the demon in the middle as well. I love how his mouth is all lit up like that. On stream, we went through so many different color palettes for what this dude should look like, and we ended up just settling for like pitch black. Originally, he was more of like a smoke gray, but the black color palette just worked better. I really pushed myself to try and fill in this backside as well, but honestly, I think I could have done better with this. I wish if I was to come back to this build, I would add more tiers of the walkways and more builds on this backside. I think it needs it. But as a whole though, I think this is one of my best builds that I've ever done. I'm really happy with this project. And it's done very well on YouTube, so I think you guys enjoyed it as well. But that is the forge. One last thing I want to talk about with the forge before we move on is this center entrance right here. Back when I made this project, I always had, or we'd already discussed, me and Cyborg, about his build sitting right on top of it, which is why you'll notice in my video, I just left this entrance cut off at about this height. And I never also showed the top of it getting built, because in all my videos, I try to show me polishing off all the surrounding terrain. In this one, I just never did, because we had this in the back of our mind and he was just starting to finish out his build, or finish working on his build. We might as well fly up here and I can show the transition between the two layers now. He actually whipped this up in like 15 minutes and we both agree that it's one of the highlights of this entire project is this transition between the two and all the tiers of the snow going down with the ice spikes. Now there are a few builds that I'll have to show you guys of both day and night, and this is one of them, so I'll get a nighttime shot here in a second. This is one of Cyborg's original builds, so huge props to him. I absolutely love how this thing turned out. This is so freaking epic, man. If it wants to load in, you guys will actually get to see everything, but essentially it started out with this lower section here. The mountains were a later addition to help us bridge the gap between this build and some of our other terrain. But essentially it's this lone tower with like an anglerfish watchtower with the orb that illuminates at night. And our weird lore for this area is that the people here with the angler helps keep the smoke demon at bay, like it's scared of the light or something and it stays down in its hole. And this tower is like a watchtower guarding over the area. But just like the scale of some of these projects, guys, it takes some getting used to when you're walking on our world, and it actually will take you 5 minutes to walk over there. It's not a typical survival world where everything's so close. For you guys to get an actual understanding of how much we play on this world, me and Cyborg, we tallied up all of our statistics, or not all of them, but a lot of the fun ones for you guys. And I want you guys to put down in the comments right now how many blocks you think we've placed on this world, and I'll reveal it here in a second. But while we're looking at this build, there's a couple fun details. So in the anglerfish's mouth right here, this is actually our nether portal to get into the forge. So when we want to access the forge, we can go in the nether here and we can just drop down through the teeth, and we thought that was a really fun way to get to the forge itself. And we also absolutely love how it's like the fire and ice transition between the two, how everything up here is ice and stone and super cold. And then you drop through the transition and all of a sudden everything's just on fire. It's an insane transition for this area. I mean, combined between these two builds alone, there's like 600,000 or 700,000 blocks. Actually, I think it's more than that. I think it might be pushing 850k, because my forge was about 300k. And I think his build up here was over 550k. 550,000 blocks, guys. Now, one of the highlights of our world, actually, I would say this is the highlight of our world, is every single thing is connected by these custom paths that transition between the build that we're currently showing or working on. So for this tower, there's this snow path that leads over to the tower. And this has a full custom interior. Now, Cyborg wanted to have this like really wacky feel for the build where none of the rooms truly make sense, but everything kind of flows differently. It's hard to explain. I'll have to show you guys every room for you guys to truly understand how insane this is. So this is kind of like the lobby area. And then wrapping around the outside here past the giant fish, you start getting into like this really garden area or gardeny area. And this continues on up here. and it's almost like a crazy tea party room. I actually think this is my favorite room in the entire tower. I love how bright and vibrant it is. A lot of the little details are so unique as well, with all the hanging pots, for example. Continuing up here, this is his kitchen. He likes to say that these are meant to be like hanging peppers from the roof. And it's just the little details that really bring out the or just make this build so good, man. Continuing up the stairs again. This is like a stage, like a theater room. It's meant to be like a play. Continuing on through though and going up another layer. This is the top or the second to top floor, and this is just kind of like a lobby area. Now there were more details that were meant to get added to this, but there's like little things like we didn't have chainmail helmets and we didn't want to go get any, and I respect that. But over on this floor, after you come up, you can actually open up this door, come outside, and there's a ladder out here to another layer. And up here is where all of the actual bedrooms are, and like a communal shower. So yeah, I love this tower, and I love the support on the fish. I think this looks really good for actually anchoring the fish up. Icicles everywhere on this project, and it's actually perfect timing for it to turn night here. And we'll continue on with this section of the tour in a second here. But if I come over here and look back at the build, this is one of the ones you got to see at night just for that illuminated anglerfish. The idea for this build came back when we were chatting late night in a call, and it was just about, imagine like a lighthouse where the light is just an anglerfish, and that's how this build started. And I thought that was a really, really cool image. There's also just something about like the reflection in the ice on some of these projects. I love this ice pattern. If you guys are wondering how this was made, it was using one of the Axiom noise painter brush patterns, and then we textured it off of that. Continuing up here, just some of the snow layer details, just have to point that out while I'm flying past. But I'm gonna come over here and walk the path for you guys to see. So this path out back follows these really rickety looking bridges covered in ice as well. And this is all linked up. Like I said, everything in this world is completely linked up, and it is so epic that you can walk. I think we're at easily 1,600 blocks in east to west distance that you can walk on this world, all linked by custom terrain now at this point. Coming up these last rickety ones though, this is a little shed that he made that's meant to be like a supply shed for the tower. So when they bring supplies for the people who stay in the tower, they get left here. Fully custom snowmobile build. I helped him design this one, so I will take partial credit for this. We were late night in a call again on this one, and there was actually a boat here that you could sit in, and we love how it actually looks like you were in the snowmobile. Really like how that turned out. Coming on through though, I love this little garage opener detail, by the way. Just thought I'd point that out. Just a little supply shed full of crates, boxes, just random supplies hanging around. It's meant to look super cluttered, and I think it really, really hits the vibe on. But I don't know if I'll walk this whole path around in the video. Wait, no, never mind. This one actually ends there. That is for future expansions. The path forks here and comes up on this side. I'm just gonna go ahead and fly this point. But it snakes the entire mountain, as you can see here. Forks again. This one doesn't go anywhere either, but it's where future builds will go. Continues all the way around, and you get some insane shots of the world from these paths. Just it's so epic. Everywhere you go, there's just something new to see. I'm also kind of glossing over this massive mountain range that I should actually take a second to talk about. This was a new addition to the world as well. I think Cyborg built this in like 2.5 weeks. He's a machine when he gets going, man. It is the second mountain range on this world. That is right, we have 2 custom mountain ranges on this world. This one is a much more realistic take on mountains, and it looks insane. So huge props to him again. But yeah, that's right. So if we follow this path around, it snakes all the way through all the gaps in the mountain, all the way down, transitions into more of a muddy path as you go down the mountain. Comes around here, and I kind of lied. There is a tiny stretch of path. This is the only missing stretch of path on the whole world. And the reason it's not here is in 2 projects time, one of my next mega builds will sit right here, and I'll be redoing this chunk of terrain, and I didn't want to build the path just to redo it, but technically this is all custom terrain that we're still walking on. In case you're wondering what the underside of some of these projects look like, it's pretty insane under some of these. I am going to quickly sleep in a bed though, so I will be right back and we'll continue on from right here. All right, and we are back and it is daytime. So I guess the next build in the path that makes sense to go to is the Wizard Tower. This is my most recent addition to the world. I am going to start touring it from this side though, where I can actually see the entrance to it. I actually caught it at the perfect time of day as well. It only lights up the front here from like 4,000 to 5,000 hours in Minecraft. So that is awesome to get started with. But this build I have named the Order of the Monarch, and it is nature wizards as a wizarding school. It's Order of the Monarch also because butterfly. Let's start with some of the terrain next to it. In our last video, we made this custom canyon river. Now, don't get me wrong, there are still a lot of chunks that we have to fix, and we'll get there one day, but one part at a time, right guys? One thing I did forget to show in the last video though is I did finish the cove out. Apparently I missed a block, so that is very unfortunate that I've spotted it now when I'm doing a world tour. But essentially I made it look like a hidden pirate alcove that was like forgotten about, with some crates of gold, some skulls, some wood, a couple beds laying around, and I thought that was just like a fun little Easter egg that's just like completely random, but just like those little details help bring life to this world. This is my favorite part of the river. I love how this like, it's really detailed, and I think I did a pretty good job with that. I'm really pleased with this river, as I've said. As you can see on this side, the river only extends to this point currently. Cybark's next build, possibly, is next 1 or 2 builds is going to sit in this chunk here, and he'll continue that out and help blend that away. Coming back though, with the Wizard Tower on the exterior of it, let's start there. We have all these flowers. These were unused assets from when we did the Cave of Creation, which we'll get to here shortly. And all of these were just repurposed for this project, as I made them for the cave and I was just like, gotta use them somewhere else. And it fit this build just too well, right? All of the tiers, we went for this indoor-outdoor feeling with all these nature rings and little zen gardens. Of course, we have the giant rune in the sky for, in my mind, it's like a symbol of protection over the forest. As this is one of my newer builds, I think the actual building techniques in it are some of the best on the world in terms of like my personal builds. And the one I would want to highlight from that is the two I'd want to highlight from that is how smooth over all of these curves are. You'll just see every single one. I did my best to make these curves as perfect as possible. I mean, we're playing in a game with blocks, right? And to me, that's a pretty good circle. The other thing I would like to highlight is my color palette. As you can see here, like this chunk is red, right? And it starts at a terracotta and goes down. But I fully shaded the whole tower. So depending on the side you look at, everything's just darker. Like the browns here, it's way darker than the browns here, where it'll be like a terracotta color. And I really like how that turned out. But the highlight of this build is definitely the interior. It has 7 floors of fully custom interior with an 8th one that's meant to be done soon, but I just completely ran out of time to finish. So this one was also based off Baldur's Gate. You might notice a recurring theme. To be honest, this is the only 2 builds that I've done based off Baldur's Gate, but this was kind of inspired by Larocken's Tower from Baldur's Gate. I know it's not called Lorachan's Tower, but I'm not exactly sure what the name is off the top of my head, but it was inspired by that one. Center Chandelier was inspired by the Citadel from Game of Thrones. I grab inspiration from wherever I can whenever I see something that I think looks really cool. So it has this full custom greenhouse with magical orange trees. A little planting set up in the back where it's like a nursery for the smaller orange trees before they grow bigger. And then we have some like planted orange trees that are still yet to be fully grown, but are in the middle stages. And then since this is a wizarding school, I did my best to add workspaces, books, desks, just everywhere that I could. Continuing on through, I'm gonna quickly lower my render just a tad until we get to some of the other sections, just to help reduce the lag that I'm experiencing. But coming up to this floor here, that is right, there isn't a staircase up here. You have to elytra rocket up here for now. I got some great comments in my last video about using bubble elevators though, so there is a chance I will add a bubble elevator in here soon, just so that way we can actually experience some of these upper layers. But this is kind of more of the same, more workspaces, more books. I think this room turned out so good, man. Some of the views you get out of these windows also are just insane. I definitely chose the wrong floor to mention that, but you'll see, it's pretty crazy, man. I also didn't mention at the last one, our total block count, now that you guys have guessed on this world, is at about 4.5 million blocks placed between me and Cybark combined. And I think it's noticeable that there are 4.5 million custom blocks placed on this world at this point. So this is the heart of the build. This is the enchantment table room. So we have a full level 30 enchantment table here, and we got that indoor-outdoor space that I was telling you guys about. And this is how you were meant to walk around the tower, was all these like rocks, and it's meant to be just a Zen garden with all these pathways around the rings. And now continuing up another layer, we get to the restricted book section. And I did mention in the YouTube video that I changed them to soul lanterns, but I never showed it. So I did change all these lanterns to soul. I think it really helps with that spooky feel of like the restricted books, and then they're all meant to be like chained up. So I tried my best to kind of cover up all the books. Dropping back down to the bottom though, from this bridge, there's this pathway that comes down here. And you are able to walk along the edge here and enter into the classroom tower. Little outdoor seating area with a nice little fountain. I honestly didn't know what to do with this area. I just like started spamming random stuff down, like these flower beds. I really had no idea what I was doing. I just needed something to help break up the mass, like all the flowers that were around this build. Coming through the door here, this is the classroom tower and the wizard tower. These first couple rooms were actually designed by some of my moderators over on my stream. So huge props to them again. Thank you guys so much. I'm sure you guys are watching this, and I really, really appreciate it, guys. Another classroom setting. Sorry if I'm like trying to speed through this a little bit more. I'm realizing that this video is going to be well over 2 hours if I don't. So try to get a little bit of a move on. This top floor here is the main classroom setting. We got the chalkboard and everything. I really, really like how these rooms turned out though. Now, yes, there is, so that was 7 rooms that I've showed you guys. And yeah, there was actually meant to be an 8th one. And it's the headmaster's office at the top, and design work for it has started, but I've just run out of time. I'm currently on vacation while this video has gone live, and I'll be back around January 7th. So I'm looking forward to streaming around then, and we'll get back to work, guys. Another fun little detail to show is the staircase comes down here, right? But there's actually a way through it on this side. And over here is just a little cozy campfire set up among all of the tall flowers. And I'm really trying to add these little details into more of my builds just to give you more of a reason to explore and find all the new things in our world. And actually another perfect time for it to be night, as I get to show you guys this thing all lit up. I mean, like, come on, man, that looks pretty freaking cool. I do think I could have done this rune a bit better. My thought for that is like thinking like Doctor Strange from the MCU and like tried to curve the rune more instead of it being flat, and then added like some more shading to it, like stained glass or something to help diffuse the light. But ultimately I think it looks pretty cool, and it gets it paints the picture, right? And that's going to be the headmaster's office eventually. It's got the chandelier, it's just not built out yet. And like magic, it's daytime again. And so coming along here, this is a brand new edition that we did actually the week before this video comes out. These were my last couple streams on Twitch. We went in, we filled in this little bit of section between the Cave of Creation and Cybark's mountain range. It was just completely plain and it needed something, and I thought it'd be perfect to get it done for the world tour. So it's just kind of a transition area between the mountains, and to do that we added the rocks to help kind of bring the rocky feel over. And then we added all the baby pines and stuff to help bring the redwoods over, to kind of merge the two together into one. This is what we do with every single one of our builds. We try to merge them together. I mean, to be honest, also, this is something that the redwoods had been lacking, and it just looks so much better. Like, compare this section here, how plain this is. Oh, what did I open? How plain this is and how empty it is, to this section with all of the brush in now, and it's just so much better. And I definitely am going to continue doing this when I come back. I'll probably spend like one day a week where I just go in and I touch up parts of my world, and this is definitely one of the top things on that list to do. So from the wizard tower, there is this path that leads into the Cave of Creation, and we'll come back to the cave in a second. I want to do the cave in a little bit because it's kind of the heart of the whole world, and I'll have to do the storage room at the same time, and that's going to take a while. Coming this way though, we can go to the Redwood village. So like I said, all of our paths are fully linked up again, and I'm so happy about that. So this path comes over here, and the packed mud that you see on the ground is actually the path to the Redwood village. The only area in the Redwood like that has packed mud, as you can see there's no packed mud, is the trails that lead into the village. So coming up these staircases, this takes us straight into the Redwood village. And this was a project I finished a couple months ago. I am really proud of how this one turned out also. This one definitely tested my will to play this game. I mean, just it was such a behemoth of a project, just from top, like start to finish, just every little thing. So I made about 7 different house designs. All of my builds are up on Patreon in case you're wondering, and that's where you can actually take a better look at all these individual houses if you want. I post like high def screenshots on there. This little market area is insane to me. I spent so long trying to make this market look cluttered, a little enchanting, kind of like wandering gypsy setup with crystals and candles. I went and just punished myself more and got turtle eggs. Some of my other favorite little details: gilded blackstone in the bottom of the fountain as if they're throwing coins in. The butterfly / moth statue. I have a thing about butterflies in my last few builds. I'm sorry about that, guys. This is meant to be the bug slaying guild hall. I never got around to doing an interior for that. That is another possible thing that I will come back and do, because I think that'd be a really fun project to kind of come into this massive rock that I built, right, and just do a big guild hall in here. I think would be epic. Let me know down below if you want me to do that one, because if I do that, it kind of pushes back other projects, but I think that'd be a lot of fun. This is the Rock Doctor. In my mind, the lore for this is this guy builds the rock golems that guard the village. Here is one of the completed rock golems. By the way, I am so proud of that design, guys. I spent so long on Twitch trying to come up with a rock golem design, and I think we did pretty good with that. Sorry, so back to this. My lore for this is this guy builds the rock golems, and then he brings over wizards from the tower to bring them to life, which is why their eyes are glassy right now, as they're not alive. And the wizards in the tower come and bring them to life. And then with this build, there's staircases everywhere. My goal for this village was to make it feel like very explorable, where no matter where you go, there's something to see. So as you can see, we're just over there, and I didn't take this path. I didn't take that main bridge. I didn't take that main bridge, and I can just like cross over wherever I want to go. couple of little details. I love the fairy light strung between the trees. I think it was just a really nice addition. This build looks so good at night, guys, with all the glowing mushrooms everywhere. So more houses on all the tiers. In case you're also noticing, or I didn't notice, I had this like all these giant rocks, right, that I designed, and I had them originally placed on just grassland, and I'm like, that doesn't really look good. So then I went and I changed all of the surrounding ground. And the first video was, I think, where it was titled, I built a new biome in Minecraft, and that was before we added all the redwoods and stuff, but it was me just doing all the rock work. And I'm like, when I'm doing the houses, I gotta boost them up on more rocks, so all of these houses are built on even more of the same rocks, and it just looks so good, man. I can't get over the fact that I built this on my own. This is another interior designed by one of my moderators, so thank you again, guys. I really, really appreciate it. That's right. So if you guys want a chance to build an interior on my world, make sure to come over to the Twitch. I stream every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but I'm currently unemployed due to me transitioning in my current job. So I will be possibly streaming every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday going forward, but that remains to be seen when I come back. Now, you might have noticed that there were sniffers over there. This is my little sniffer farm. So this is where I get all of my sniffer items. I'm trying to... No, I don't have any schematics running. I'm getting more lag than usual, and I think it's because I'm recording, but our world is starting to get pretty laggy, to be honest. This house over here, this is the blacksmith. The forge is built into another one of the rocks. I love how that turned out. I mean, just like, it's pretty insane, man. These trees, each one is over 2,100 blocks. That's over a shulker box and like a third per tree. That's a lot of blocks, guys, considering the fact that I built, I think, like 49 of them or something, plus 3 more for the wizard towers, so like 52 of them. One of my other favorite details is, so the paths, like I said, they link all over the place. They actually come over to here as well. And I'm not going to run up with this whole thing because it would take a very long time in the video. But maybe I'll run up a chunk of it. I created these scaffolding platforms. Now, obviously, these chunks aren't super detailed coming up here. But there are a way, or there is a way to get all the way up without a light train. Little rickety bridges that stretch across the open gaps. And if you're wondering what this all looks like, it's like this with my scaffolding going up the giant rock. It's the little details of the fact that our world is walkable that I think really help elevate it to that next level. And I added this floating artifact at the top with like almost like a Stonehenge build. Almost like it was some ancient religion up here. And to me, climbing to the top of this rock from their village down below is almost like the villagers' pilgrimage. I also think they have 2 different pilgrimages, and the other one takes them to the heart of the Cave of Creation, to that artifact there. In my mind, all these ruins here, the way the lore for this world works is these are the ancestors of the Redwood village here. And as they moved out of the village and up to here, or out of the cave and up to here, they still go back to their old lands. I'll get one more shot of the artifact because I think that thing looks so good. I'd be amiss if I didn't talk about a couple more of my rock designs. I really like this one, which is the full arch. We got all of the giant bugs, butterflies, and everything. To be honest, our world is kind of getting to this point where it's impossible for me to truly show you guys everything there is in even at all reasonably timely manner, but this is Beats Beautiful Tavern, another moderator interior build. With some of my projects, they take me months to design and to build in survival. So some of my moderators like to help me out, and they just do the interiors for some of them, just to help bring life to the project, and it helps speed me up as well. Sometimes I do my own one though, like for example with the Wizard Tower. I love how this river turned out. Another lush river, dragonfly at the end. That is the jungle, which we'll come back to after the Cave of Creation, but it's so cool. And the more we build, the cooler it gets. Like, now from everywhere you are in the cave, or sorry, in the Redwood village, you just see the protection rune in the sky, and it's every single build just adds more and more character to the previous ones, and it's such a cool feeling. Snail. This is the sawmill build in the village. I'm sure I've missed other things in the village that I would like to talk about, but it's time for us to go into the next one, so I'm gonna quickly go make it daytime again, and I will be right back again. Next, it is time for us to finally go to the Cave of Creation. Coming back over here, we could have walked the path over like I've talked about in the past, but we're just going to take this one over here. And following this, we get to go into the Cave of Creation for the first time in this world tour. And I'd love if the chunks would load, but everything in the Cave of Creation is fully walkable. I think that is the highlight of all of our projects, and as you can see, there's these cliffside paths. This one leads behind the back of the waterfall into what used to be our nether room, or like where the nether portal was held in order for us to access this build. This has since been moved ever since we added the storage room though, and it was adding like conflicting issues. That might be making a return soon. I will keep you guys posted on that in the Nether Hub video that's slated to come out kind of end of January. There is another main entrance over there that we'll go to in a bit, but that is an alternate entrance into our industrial district. And like I've said, paths leading everywhere all the way down. This one loops back, into the ruins here, and then continues all the way down, around, and to the center where the artifact and the giant tree is. Obviously, in case you guys haven't seen the Cave of Creation video, I have to mention this tree is made out of diamond blocks. Yes, I mined over 20,000 diamonds for this project. It took me, I think, like 5 weeks of mining, 5 or 6 hours a day. I did a row of diamond ore for like 3 or 4 weeks straight. It was insane. Crazy project though. I think this has to be the best project on the world currently. I don't think there's one that's better than it, but I'll let you guys down below tell me if you think this is my best project or which one on the world is your guys' favorite. I do want to show a couple details that are, I think, really cool. For example, this telescope looking creation that I made, there is a point in the day where the sun actually lines up directly down the barrel between the 3 lenses, and I thought it was just a really cool little detail. It was something I wanted to make for a while, and I had like the illumination effect on the ground from it magnifying the sun through it. More snails. There's a bunch of big bugs in this project, and I think that looks incredible. Oh, of course, we have to mention this while we're in the cave. We added all these cave paintings on the walls to tell a story, and it's the whole story of the Cave of Creation. So it's like, this is the religious hub of our world, basically. And essentially a meteorite came and it left behind an artifact. And then the giant tree grew from the artifact, and they just depict the story of the Cave of Creation on the wall. I do want to quickly fly over here. I would walk this entire project, but when we finished this project, we walked it on stream, and it ended up taking about 25 minutes to walk all the paths. So we will not be doing that today, but I will give you guys a glimpse of what some of these paths lead to. I think this is my favorite shot from the entire project, and the more we build up on the rim, the better this shot gets. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you guys go back and watch the Cave of Creation video now, the area was just kind of plain when we first put it in. I mean, obviously there was nothing in this area. It was the first build to get built here. And slowly but surely we have started to actually surround the cave, and it's looking awesome in every direction. Even this side with just the little pebbles. It's all turning out so cool. So like I said, coming around here into this ruined archway, this is where our nether portal used to be, and this is where who we named the Keeper, and it was like the guardian that protected from the nether realm. So I do really want to bring this portal back because it was a really cool room, but we'll see if I'm able to figure out the chunk loaders that we have down below for the storage room. Coming on over to this side, however, This is another one of these ruined rooms. Now, this tunnel obviously isn't done, but this leads all the way into our industrial district, and this will be finished, honestly, probably pretty soon. It's on the upper end of our list of projects that we have to do. Like, this is the acacia farm. Another fun detail I thought I'd highlight is the eyes in the bottom of here. Now, hopefully we'll get them to blink here in a second, but these eyes are on a redstone clock and they periodically blink, and it's just another fun little detail in the world. I assume this still works. I haven't looked at this in over a few months. Yep. Awesome, awesome, awesome. But I mean, like, look at the shots we're starting to get with mountains in the distance, trees, the wizard tower's now in. Oh, the Cave of Creation's gotta be the best build on this world, in my opinion. Although we have some stuff in store for you guys in the new year, and I think the Cave of Creation is gonna get dethroned. Coming all the way down to the bottom, this is the bridge that leads over into the center island. The tree of life in the middle here, I'm so proud of this design. I used Axiom line brushes to create the trunk, and then we created this willow texture, and we copied and pasted it all around the tree, tried a ton of different color palettes. I think we went through 30 or 40 different color palettes, but I think it turned out really good. Obviously, 20,000 diamonds also makes a big difference. In the middle of the island here, this is obviously the artifact that I keep mentioning. And the goal for this center island area was to make it seem like, despite age, or a bunch of time passing and everything around it crumbling, the artifact just remains pristine because it's some alien thing. I think that turned out really cool. I think we should take this time, though, to quickly go and tour the storage room while we're over here. And so this is our main storage room. There's a lot to go over in here, but this is the second main storage room we've had on this world. I will actually stop by the first one at some point in this video to show you guys that one. This one has a huge improvement from that one, however. In case you're wondering, yes, that is the dragon egg. I'm going to turn shaders off for this room, though, as I don't think it's needed, and I think this room stands on its own. So one of my favorite details is the minecarts we have in the roof zigzagging around to add some motion to the build. It's just a little fun detail that I absolutely love how it turned out. I thought that was a genius idea, and it looks really cool. But so, apart from that, the center of this room is the giant world map, and obviously we're working on expanding this. Our goal for this world is to fill in the majority of this map, and when that time comes, we will actually wipe the world and we will start over and do season 2. So while I call this a forever world, it's kind of more like a 5-year world kind of plan for me right now. Actually, no, we're going into year 4, maybe like a 6-year plan, but we'll see. Hopefully we'll get that done sooner rather than later. But so every single corner in this room is a utility, or a special utility for us to function on this world. This right here is our XP farm. It is 2 massive cactus farms that are permanently smelting with a carpet duper that never stops, and they stack up unreal amounts of XP to a point where, if I quickly do this, I mean, I'm level 471 right now, and these haven't been stacking long. I think these have probably only been running about a day since they were last taken. But if I just go through these and grab them, you can see how just unreal this XP farm is. I just gained 20 levels at level 470 in like 2 seconds. Because furnaces allow you to stack up god particles, this farm works so well. Moving along, this has probably been the biggest game-changing addition to this storage room compared to our last one, is we actually added a shulker box unloader finally, and we also added a normal input chest. One thing that's fun is when our shulker boxes are unpacked, instead of going up this dropper column, they go up this dropper column, and they get dumped into these boxes, and these are just where our overflow shulkers end up after we finish projects. And yes, obviously we have too many shulker boxes. We don't talk about that. A couple other questions I always get asked about our storage room is how we store bulk items. And to be honest, when we're working on our projects, we work out of shulker boxes, and if there's a shulker box of untouched items, we just keep it as that shulker box and throw it into our storage room. Now we have all these boxes, or we have 3 double chests for loose versions of the items, and if these ever get close to filling up, we go and we manually pack them below. Now, we only do this for some items. Obviously, like, we don't need to shulker box pack oak saplings, and if we do, there are some of these that you'll see where we just have spare shulker boxes in the bottom of them. I'm trying to think of a good one for this. No, blackstone, no. I can't find a good one. I will find one in a second. But for the rest of those, like moss, for example, we store at the bottom, and then we have the loose boxes up here, but these never get full because, I mean, we're always grabbing from these, and if we're ever doing a project, we pack it all back down and use it again. Let's see, do I have a good example? None of these are very good examples. But the storage room has worked fantastic. One thing I highly recommend for you guys if you are looking to design your own storage room is at the end of every hallway, just fill them out, build them way longer than you have to. I have added like another 15 blocks to the storage room that we didn't sort that I ended up using ever since we made this video, and that was only a few months ago, and I'm sure I'm going to add a bunch more in the future. So no, it doesn't sort every item in the game, but it sorts the majority of them, and it's done the job for us perfectly. Couple other things you'll notice, we got some of our custom map arts on the wall. Yep, that's right, I actually built that. I'll go over and show you these map arts in the future. This is the brush from the Redwoods video that got the sniffer eggs. We like to just name everything. We have a little bit of fun on this world. These I get asked about occasionally. These are some of the builds that we're currently working on, and we just kind of place them in terms of priority order, and it just helps us keep track personally of what we want to work on. And then any items that don't get sorted end up back here. So as you can see, it's mostly non-stackables, but there's a lot of items that don't get sorted that end up back there. Oh, and then we also have another 32 furnace array. I think it's 32 built into the wall right here. When you're in the storage room and you're working on a project and you only need like, I don't know, 20 green dye, this thing is very, very nice to have. I also got to say hi to Joe for you guys while I'm in here. But he's kind of hiding. That's Bat-a-dat-at. We have a name tagged bat trapped in here. And then Joe Slime likes to hide in the vines. So I am failing to spot him. Maybe if we throw on hitboxes. There he is. Joe Slime's in the corner. He's been with us now, I think, for over 2.5 years. Coming over here, this is how we get in and out of our storage room, and it runs off of wind charges. This is actually running low, so I'll have to restock this soon, but there is a second double chest, so do not fear. We have a lot of these things stocked up, and we have a quintuple breeze farm that we use for that. But it is the best way that I've ever seen to get in and out of the storage room, or a build like this, quickly and effectively. Now I am going to sleep real quick, and then we will continue on with this tour, going through Cybark's newest edition, which is the jungle. So, coming back out of the Elytra launcher, I'm going to go land over here by the edge of the Redwoods, and we'll continue this tour from over here. I do want to quickly show you guys some of the crater rim walk shots now that everything's starting to really get filled in. I did just toggle shaders, so we do need to wait a second for all of these chunks to load back in. For those who are going to tell me to use distant horizons, we actually have tried using distant horizons, and it kind of messes up detailed builds. So we actually use a mod called Bobby, which basically allows us to just enhance vanilla render. But obviously there's only so much my computer can handle while I'm running shaders. It's not an issue at all when I'm not running shaders, but with shaders it can cause quite a lot of lag. Either way though, oh, also the bearded golem survived. He made it. This is the entrance to Cybark's new jungle. He has done his best to transition it into the Redwoods, and I think that looks great. I was video editing and I took too long, and it was turning nighttime again. But coming back, it is now daytime once again, and we are able to see his new jungle build. He absolutely killed it with the thing. He made basically 2 canopy tree designs, 2 of these medium tree designs, and then like 5 or 6 smaller brush tree designs. And when you combine all of them together, you get this really realistic looking jungle. Now you guys will have to let me know if you agree with me or not. I think he should add a bunch of tiki torches along the pathway in here, just like You know, those like Aztec movie vibes. But coming along through here, you get glimpses of my mountain range that I built back in the day. This was Thunder's Crest. I mean, that was only like slightly over a year ago now, I think, but it's been a while. This is probably the money shot for this project. I don't actually know what he has named this project. I'll have to add it down below or something in the timestamps, but this project is actually unfinished. He has this massive underground build planned that sits in this canyon between the temple. And I will let him finish that up before we go to a lot more into that. But I will take a minute to really walk around this temple because it is so cool, guys. If you guys are ever wondering how many leaves we use on this world, I think this build was like over 100,000 leaves. The Redwoods was over 100,000 leaves. I think the Forgotten Forest was pushing like 250,000 leaves. It's pretty unreal. One of my other favorite shots is you can see, if you shift over a little bit, because that tree is blocking it, you can see the mountain in between the temple, and it looks so good. So he did this weathered skull build in the middle. It's a 4-faced skull with a gradient as it goes from white to the darker colors on the backside. It's got some crumbled pillars in here, and if you have the time, you can actually come around the back here and you can go into some of these other tower sections of the project. Some of these offer you some pretty cool views of the build. I think my favorite one is when you come out here. I'm not sure if this will have been loaded, but yep, you are actually able to see the Temple of the Sun over the back here, past the Forgotten Forest, and we'll get to all of that in a little bit. Continuing up this path here, he plans to add a little dock section, almost like an alternate way into the Redwood village. If we can go down the river and in through here, that'd be a really cool entrance into this other project. But he plans to add a little dock here, and that is also a work in progress. This build, like I said, actually only got finished like a week ago, or it got up to this point a week ago. So there's a lot of things currently in progress on our world. But one of the best things he did with this project is he finally linked it up to the Forgotten Forest. So the tunnel that we opened our last world tour in is actually fully linked up to the jungle now. This is right where I started the first world tour. And as you can see now, it links to the jungle, and there is actually a little side alternate path through this little gap here. And this leads into the canyon area of the jungle build at the ground floor of that right here. Our goal is to eventually kind of add like a spider web of paths that stretch our whole world, and I think this is a great start to that. One thing I want to do one day also is submit our entire world to someone who is like a really good RPG map maker and see if they want to spend time adding like NPC or questing NPCs to our world or something. I think that'd be so sick to actually allow players to like walk around and experience it. So welcome to the Forgotten Forest. This is a little bit of a change of pace because it's a more modern take. Most of our stuff is kind of old fantasy kind of style. This one is much more modern. This was our very first custom forest that we ever built. And these are all custom birch trees. And then you get into our custom coastal pines inspired by where we're from in Oregon. Pacific Northwest pine trees. You'll also notice there's a severe lack of underbrush in this first section. This was our first time doing it. In our later Forgotten Forest expansions, we went back and we added underbrush, and it looks significantly better in my opinion. This is one of two of Cybark's ruined houses or abandoned houses that he built. This one I think is my favorite one he did between the two, as he used these mushroom blocks to make it look like it was chipped paint. And I think that looks so good. Like the house was actually white once upon a time, and it's just wearing away to like the plywood. Coming over here though, this house now actually serves a purpose. This abandoned house over here is the entrance to our industrial storage room, or one of our entrances. We now actually have multiple, but this was the main one used for about a year before we added an alternate one. If we come into here, we can hit this pressure plate and we can drop on down. And this build right here is the highlight, or I wouldn't say it's the highlight of the world, but I know everyone on YouTube loves this project. It used over 200 nether stars in it. I think it was like 260 nether stars or something. And this is our industrial space storage room. A lot of the redstone on our world is fully custom, and this is another one of those times. We designed these tileable units where I'm really happy with how this works, but it is kind of glitchy and we ran into a lot of issues with it. And if we ever redo this room, those tileable units are going to get changed quite a lot. We're going to have a Gen 2. But the way this storage room works is all of our industrial farms link up to this one room. And then we get this double chest of all of the raw material. And then after this double chest fills up, it automatically starts shulker box packing. And as you can see, we have a pretty unreal amount of just shulker boxes of materials in this place, If I continue around here, is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. So this is where we used to manually fill up shulker boxes, but this has actually been fully emptied. That is surprising to me. We're finally getting close to this new contraption that we added at the end recently. I think we added this a couple months ago, but we finally set up an auto crafter. And once these shulker boxes make its way all the way past here, this thing will start auto crafting from this double chest of shulker shells. That's right, we have just too many shulkers on this world. But it works great, and so yeah, it fills up that box, breaks it, adds it into that other section, and then it stores the loose items via that top line. But continuing on, we are going to head out of this project now. And by taking this water stream back up to that abandoned house, we'll see that it's probably turning nighttime again. And that's okay. We can get one more project in before it turns fully nighttime. And the project that I want to talk about real quick is what has been named the Wanderer. And he is just an abandoned mech that I designed, kind of fit the vibe of the post-apocalyptic world. And it's like almost an alternate way that they used to carry shipping containers on land in this post-apocalyptic world. I really like how this dude turned out. He was actually gonna originally be like a storage room inside of him. And I kind of abandoned that idea pretty early. He's an old build on this world. As you can see on the ground here, Cybark added a little swampy section underneath him, and I think that looks super cool. This is kind of right when we started getting into custom terrain at another level. And since then, we've just never looked back, to be honest. Coming into this fallen shipping container though, fun fact, this is actually part of one of our projects. You can come through here, and this is the entrance into our industrial district. We've since added a couple other entrances, like the one in the Cave of Creation, but this was the original one. We built this doomsday bunker back in, when was this thing made? This was made in March 1st, 2024, so it's not actually that old. But so this is the third industrial district we've actually had on this world. We've moved around a few times, but this will be the last one, I believe. I don't think either of us have any plans on moving this again. So, like I said, it's a doomsday bunker. Got like a shower, supplies stored everywhere. There used to be a chicken in there. I don't know what happened to him. This is meant to be like one of those work in progress curtains. And then coming through here, you'll notice more chests. These are actually hooked up. These link to our blast chamber for some specific blocks. So when we're working on some projects, they end up in here, which is really nice. Specifically leaf gathering and a couple others like that. But we got to talk about these industrial tunnels now. All of these are, there's basically 6, I think, tileable sections that Cybark has made. And then we can go around and place them in whatever order we want, and it always turns out cool. We add all these hopper clock blinking lights, and it's a really, really atmospheric build. I think for this one, I am going to drop my brightness down because this one is best and moody when you get these dark, creepy tunnels. I think I made a short about this area at one point, but yep, you can see all of our little farms. Like that's the little cactus farm for green dye. Not that we need that anymore with our new cactus farm setup. This one, this break in the wall, shows you our iron farm. You will notice that quite a few of these tunnels are not fully finished. This is another one of the longest stretches of completed tunnels though. And at the end of this one, this leads over to, or this entrance right here actually is the one that we looked in. That leads to the Cave of Creation. And this is one of our newer entrances back into the space storage room at the end there. I might as well show this as well real quick. There is a few other entrances through these tunnels that are hidden, like right here, where the floor will open up for you to jump in. I think it was this one that leads back into the industrial area. Yes. Continuing back through the tunnel system, however, if we go around here, so there's a lot of farms in here, by the way. It's the majority of the ones on the world. Now, there are a few that still haven't been shifted over, just literally purely due to laziness. And I will show our old industrial area. I can't show the very first one because that was at spawn. And obviously spawn has been fully deleted at this point to be replaced by the Cave of Creation. But continuing on this way, this is one of the paths that I will have to walk on this world because there's just so much effort went into all the surroundings here. And you get some pretty incredible shots when you come around the corner right here. I gotta let it load in really quickly. Doesn't seem to want to fully load. Maybe it's just due to my render distance, but this is the majority of Thunder's Crest. This was a 650,000 block mountain range project. And coming through here, might as well head this way next. This is the Spanish Highlands. We'll come back to that. I'm gonna quickly go take a look at Ashbrook over here. That is what we have named our first medieval village on this world. What if we continue on through here? You'll actually see what I meant by we added underbrush. This entire area was the first time, like you can see the hard line where the expansion took place, and then we were like, oh, we should add underbrush. And we at some point definitely should come back and add underbrush to the other section. We just haven't had a chance to yet. And it does make a massive difference in the atmosphere of the project though. It looks so much more dense, and it really is. I have no idea how long those guys have been there. Honestly, I completely forgot we even had them. But if we continue along this pathway into Ashbrook, this was a collab project between me and Cybark. I think I did 3 houses, he did 3 houses or something like that, and then I did the tavern and he did the church. And it turned out so good. For a little medieval village along the path, everything has a completely full interior, completely custom between every single house. And we didn't repeat any houses, so every single house is unique in this village. Like this was one of my houses. That first one we went in was one of his. A little well, some berry bushes, little chicken coop, fish stall. This is the butcher, and there's meant to be pigs in there, and we just never got around to bringing pigs in. Might as well go in the butcher real quick. Butcher shop, and then upstairs in here is their living space for the family that lives here. This one is the fishmonger's house. Coming in here, you can see all these fishing traps, and then his living space is upstairs, but you have to go around the outside of the project to get up there. I believe, I don't even remember which side it's on, but there is a way up there. This is the stable. Coming around another house. This is actually the priest's house. This is the tavern. This one, however, I did the interior for. So I'm pretty happy with this. This is some of my weaker interior game for sure, but to be honest, we never come over here. It was just a fun addition to the world. We liked this idea, and honestly, we haven't done enough of them yet. But our plan for the world is we're gonna add all these little wandering trader huts everywhere. And they'll all have like the similar kind of nether stars, dragon heads, and so on. And it's just gonna be kind of a fun Easter egg that the wandering traders everywhere. You want to talk about overkill detail? There is no reason to ever come into this church in our world, and yet we used elytras to decorate the statues to make them more look more like angels. or they're meant to be angel statues. I don't know if that comes across. In Ashbrook, they celebrate the religion of the diamond tree from the Cave of Creation. So this is kind of meant to be a stained glass design representing the diamond tree. And it is kind of the national religion on our world. Ashbrook Cemetery. We went all out on the detailing for this project, and I think it turned out pretty good. A little wood chopping area, farms scattered between all of the houses. We really tried our best to bring this village to life. It is probably missing villagers walking around, but to be honest, guys, I've seen so many comments about me adding villagers to my world. My world already lags so bad that I'm very scared to add a bunch more entities to it. One little detail we are yet to do, but we want to do, is at the end of this, we want to add like a little footpath, like villagers actually use this bridge to cross over. I love this shot down the river though. This is one of my favorite screenshots we got back in the day. I am going to go this way though, towards the lightning instead, as I think it will give us a better glimpse of it. And I'd like to get a glimpse of it before it turns nighttime, and then I can show you guys a nighttime shot of it as well. So coming over here, this is our lightning build. This one is, I want to say, the oldest build on this world. I want to say. And one day I'd really like to come back and redo this one, because I know for a fact I could kill it with this project now. I think I really got the shape of the lightning right, but then I really messed it up from the side profiles. I essentially just traced lightning. I had an image up and I did my best to replicate it. But this build at night goes really hard, mainly because everything is really lit up. So in the ground here, we did this gradient effect of the lightning going to a black color. And then in the bottom of the cloud itself, you can see there's extra lightning cracking in it. And it is nighttime once again. But coming over here, so our plan for this was kind of like the lightning scorched all the trees. So we made a whole pack of our pine trees, but instead they're all scorched and burnt. I think it definitely paints the picture, and I think it looks great. Coming on over here though, this is the first storage room on this world. This was our main storage room for the longest time ever. And I still need to fully tear it down, but this is where everything really began on this world for us. That was Joe Slime's cage, and he came with us. We didn't leave him behind. He came with us. It was a very similar setup with the chest setup. The only thing that changed is we added a third one to the bottom, and then we started shulker box packing and also as well. Like we set up dedicated chests for the shulker boxes, as we talked about. Coming through here, this was our first main industrial smelter. This was 64 furnaces, but it was honestly a very manual setup to run. And it was pretty painful, so I'm very happy we're no longer using this. The new forge is just so much better in every way. But it ran off bamboo, but the problem was the bamboo farm over here couldn't actually keep up. And it required you to manually dump in bamboo like this into the water stream every now and then. Yeah, this was the original design. This is where our world map's at. Some of our old projects that we were working on at the time. Almost everything got fully moved over though. All the items are gone for sure. I still do come over here on stream occasionally because a lot of the little farms are still down here. So I end up coming over here to do a bunch of stuff a lot. Heading on out of this storage room, however. Oh, it's still nighttime. I should sleep real quick and then we will continue. I'll probably, I think, talk about Thunder's Crest next. That just makes the most sense. It's right here. It's on the edge of our world. So coming up here, let's talk about these mountains. There's honestly not too much to talk about with them. At the end of the day, they're just mountains, right? There's nothing crazy detailed about them. My take on mountains was significantly different than Cymark's, and the way I would describe this is my mountains were kind of meant to be like a backdrop, and his were meant to be a realistic take. I feel like when you see my mountains here, it feels like they are very far away, the way that the actual curves are much smoother, and there isn't so much texturing, right? It's meant to not really draw your eyes, it's kind of like a backdrop. His was a much more realistic take on them, and honestly, if I was to redo it, I'd probably go for a more realistic take. The way that I did my realistic take on these was, as you can see here, there's two different color palettes. I did this like mud and gray concrete one. And basically from up above, it actually looks like the mountain is in shade. I did definitely goof with this though. A darker, tough color palette would have just looked better. I ended up messing with it after I built like the first one, and I was like, oh, that would have looked better, which was kind of unfortunate, but you live, you learn, right? I just ended up going, I think, slightly too dark on them. It does look like the shadow though coming down. And if you wanted to get another view of what the inside of this thing looks like, we really make entire worlds disappear under here. Don't get me started about how much of a pain these things are to blend into normal terrain though. It is such a pain. As you can see, there's a bunch of chunks where it's just not finished. It looks like we just kind of pasted it in. We do have builds planned that will come out here though, so don't worry about that. That will all get cleaned up one day. There's a project planned to put a giant lake here, extend the forest to about the edge here. Because right about here is actually the edge of our world map, and our goal is to fill the world map in. We really don't care to go any farther than that. So the current plan is to finish the lake, stretch the forest around the edge here, and be done with it there. Or at least be done with this portion there. This is the Spanish Highlands. We call it that just because to us it's kind of like this dry, arid terrain. And we envision a Spanish villa sitting on top of this hill, and if you're from Spain, don't come at me. We really probably are completely off on that, but we think it fits pretty well. And it's just the name that we've been calling it for 2-3 years now, and we're just rolling with it. One thing I do want to mention about this is it's basically meant to be a transitional part of our terrain. We do our best to transition all our projects. So we have this like super foresty area, and then we have this desert, and it was a how do we get from desert to forest? And our solution was to kind of have this more dry, arid area. And I think it serves its purpose perfectly. Like if you look at this transition, that's pretty good compared to that. So there is a bunch of plans to actually expand this highlands section. We want to take it out to probably about here, to the edge of where the lake will sit there. And another thing I should mention about this is, so it's a shell of custom terrain built on top of a shell of custom terrain. And I think there was another shell of custom terrain in some of this area. It is absolutely ridiculous how much custom terrain there is stacked up on this world. I gotta give you guys at least one good aerial shot of this entire area though while it's still daytime. But the mountains want to unload. That's kind of one problem I'm starting to face with this world, is you simply can't actually like understand how insane it is unless you walk it, just because everything disappears on you. There's honestly no good screenshot angles just because there is too much at this point. Continuing on over towards the Temple of the Sun. This is the project that really kicked everything off for me. This is actually Temple of the Sun V2. Temple of the Sun V1 was a project I did about 6 years ago, and it was my first ever mega project, and about 4 years ago, I decided that I wanted to see how much I'd improved over a couple of years of building. And I went crazy with this one, and it was significantly better in my opinion. A couple little cooking stands in the desert. Now, sadly, this is another unfinished project. There was meant to be once upon a time a super lush feeling down here, and I was going to add palm trees and everything. And I just never got around to doing it, and I don't know if I ever will. I definitely should do a YouTube video one day where I just spend a month cleaning up my world and polishing all these corners, and it's just the entire video is polishing. And probably that will happen one day, but we'll see. Continuing on though, I think that is an incredible shot of this project. Now, sadly, this project does not have an interior. It is all exterior. But if we come in here, it does have a couple things that are worth mentioning. So this is our very first world map. And as you can see, our world looked really different a few years ago. As you can see here, this was spawn. This was the spawn village that had our first industrial area in it. And sadly, that village is no more. That village has been completely bombed out and replaced by the Cave of Creation. But when we started this world, it was nothing but hopes and dreams. And then this was about 2 years later, and as you can see, we had just started the Forgotten Forest. One little custom mountain had been done, the lightning had been done, and this Temple of the Sun had been done, as well as we had moved our industrial district over to this corner here, and future was looking pretty bright for us at this point. But it changes really, really rapidly from this point on. I started getting into YouTube a lot more seriously, and at that point, I mean, the amount I'm playing just like tripled. So this was November 20th. Fun fact, that was my birthday that we did this map. So on my birthday, we did this map last year. And not even 9 months later, it was starting to look like this. Cave of Creation was in. Forgotten Forest had tripled in size. Spanish Highlands was added. A lot of this had started to get moved underneath the Forgotten Forest, as well as Thunder's Crest was done and Ashbrook. So much progress happened in those few months. And then there was another time jump. We're meant to lock the map. Before I do my next project, this world map will be locked once again, despite only 4 months passing. Literally in 4 months, we have gone and we have added an entire new mountain range, the ice biome, the forge, the redwoods, the wizard tower, and the jungle. We're grinding right now. It has been an insane run for me. It's been an insane run, and I really, really appreciate all the support you guys have given me while I've been doing this. I'm having the time of my life building right now. Look at the jungle on the distance, man. But apart from that, a lot more to come. We have a lot of massive projects planned. I have one that will sit behind the redwoods soon, and I'm super excited to get to work on that one. Couple little fun details. I don't even know why this is here, but I think this is motion censored. I know it's right here. There is an underground vault that should be opening, but doesn't seem to want to open. I have to like come up to it. I'm not sure. Oh, it opened. Right here, yep. And in here, just a little underground vault. Just little fun details hidden around our world. Luke's homestead from Star Wars. This was just a comedic thing. Ignore the smoking bodies. I did not build those, that was not me. The last major thing I want to show in this area is just our original industrial storage farms, or our original industrial district. Coming in here, these are all of our storage rooms. The old wool farm was here. We got some wheat farms. Cobblestone generator sits here. The things that we haven't moved away from here yet is the cobblestone generator, the rooted dirt farm, as well as the tree farm. Oh no, wait, have we moved the tree farm? No, we have not moved the tree farm. This is our only tree farm. Oh, as well as the shulker farm, but that one's actually broken right now and that one needs to be fixed. But yeah, it's nothing crazy. This was just our original industrial area. We thought we were going to keep it really neat, and then we had these pipe ideas where the items were actually going to actively flow through the pipes. And a lot of them do from all the farms that are here currently, but at the end of the day, it was getting so messy, and we were like, let's just throw it all underground. And it was definitely the right choice. It saved us a ton of headache just having this be underground. Apart from that, though, I think that is the majority of the builds in the overworld. Now, there aren't really any builds in the other areas, but there's definitely a few things that I want to show you guys. So let's continue on. Now, our nether is really quite messy, but it's really just a mess of farms right now, and I'm really excited to put my next project in, which is going to be a nether hub that will probably stretch about as far as you can see in every direction in terms of like where my farms are. I'm expecting me to do probably a 500 by 500 sheet of land in here, and it's going to be real special. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and you stay tuned for that. It's going to be epic. So up here, you can see we have a pork farm. This is a gas farm. Now, the reason we have a gas farm is we like to never turn off our mob switch, and gas was actually, or gunpowder was the last mob drop we needed to be able to automatically get without ever turning the mob switch off. So like we get string from the gold donut up there, we get gunpowder from here, we get bone meal from our, what's it called, moss farms. Apart from that though, guardian farm, shulker farm, froglight farm, warped and crimson farm, mushroom, warped and the fungus farm for the saplings for those trees, a little basalt farm, of course the gold donut. That one is the mob switch one, so if we take the pork chop over there, that one stops. We added this a bit later than I wish we had, but we do have the full bartering set up as well. Now, I do hate that the gold donut doesn't really work anymore for XP, so I'm not over here as much, but it is still a very effective way to gather some blocks like blackstone. The other main things to show you guys is, so there's nothing in the end either yet, but that is the project that I think will dethrone the Cave of Creation as the best project on this world, is going to be our end build. Cyberk and I started discussing it. It's going to be a collab build that is probably going to be pushing like 800,000 blocks. And I'm not talking about like a mountain 800,000 block. I'm talking about a cyberpunk city 800,000 block build. It is going to be insane, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that, but it's probably at least a few months out from being a reality. So it's going to take me a minute for that. So before we started duping on this world, we actually mined like 300,000 sand, as you can see. So in our defense, before we started doing that, if you think that's cheating, we did do our best not to, and it was just so much of a time sink. We already play on this world way too much that it was no point wasting even more of our life mining sand when there was a thing that we could do in vanilla to get it for free. Coming over here though is our map arts, and another one of the craziest projects on here is this periodic table. Now, I used to have a video on my channel that showed this. The only thing is it showed my face in it, so I have privated it. But essentially we made the entire periodic table in Minecraft out of map arts. I don't know what's wrong with us either. I really don't have an answer for you. There are a few places where we goofed and just never went back and fixed it. For example, here, I messed up the font size on the O and the C, and then we realized and we fixed it for the rest. There's also a few there's like one or two where the number is a duplicate because we goofed and didn't change it while we were working on it. But basically every single layer, and we did all 112, or I think it's more than 112. We did all of the elements that were listed for us to do. So yeah, a stupid project, but a pretty cool one. Our other map arts are this one, which is the stained glass version of the Cave of Creation. One little fun detail is this one was built before the Cave of Creation, so it is a little different than the cave for that reason, but we like it as a the message gets lost throughout time, you know what I mean? This is the peaceful penguin logo that I did. Now this one I did use software online for. None of the others were using software, but this one I wanted the colors to match as perfectly as possible. So I did use a map art generating software for this one. There is another insane thing though to show you guys over here before we head back. This is actually where I did all of the diamond mining for the Cave of Creation. And I'm not going to fly at all because it's literally thousands of blocks of tunnels. But I will show you guys the main stretch of this. So this is where I ran the tunnel bore, and I spent like 5 weeks of my life. And I'm not kidding that this thing goes for about another 500 or 600 blocks minimum past where you can see right here. And you can see a long way. I have like 40 something chunk render on right now. This thing, I spent so many hours down here running this bomber. And for those who think we cheat on this world, if this isn't proof that we don't, I really don't know what is, because this would be the project I would have cheated on. So I ran this bomber right here for like 6 weeks while I was in school, but we're done. Hopefully I never have to do that again, because that was a lot, I'm not gonna lie. It'd be a very fun thing to stream nowadays though, because I'd be able to just log hours streaming. But that is this one. Yeah, you forget, we just have shulker boxes of stuff all over this world that you forget about. Yeah, just some ancient debris and diamond blocks down here, and I haven't been down here in like a month or two. To be honest, there are a lot more things on this world I could show you guys, but none of it's too crazy. And I'd prefer to keep this video under 2 hours if I can help it. So I'm going to just give you guys a couple flybys of the entire area so that you can truly understand how many freaking blocks we have placed on this world. Either way though, I want to take this time to quickly thank you guys all for joining me on this journey once again. It has been unreal doing all this work on YouTube. And it'd be also fantastic and unreal if all my chunks could load. And land right here real quick and try and get some of these to render. There we go. Our projects just kind of push the limits a bit too much at this point, but that's kind of what makes it fun for us, right? All right, so that's all of Thunder's Crest loaded in. This is the shot that I wanted rendered for when I'm flying over though. 1,050 blocks of custom forest, everybody, stretching from this point here, this direction. We are about to fly 1,000 blocks of custom forest. It's insane flying this world at this point. Like, I really don't know what to say. I don't want to talk myself up too much because it's too egotistical for me. I really don't know what else to say about this world other than I'm really proud of it. It's pretty unreal seeing just like this wizard tower alone was like 250 hours of my life spent on that thing. And I feel like every time we add another build, this world just gets taken to an entire another level. So 2 projects time, my build will sit right there and I'll cover this entire stretch, yep. So many blocks placed. It doesn't even look like Minecraft at this point when you're looking around. Look at that forest. Either way though, guys, I'm gonna wrap up this video here. I am gonna read off a ton of statistics for you guys. And Cybark and I went around and we did a family photo album for you guys to watch while I read off some statistics. So once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the new year.